Morning Roast, presented by Timeless Coffee with Bonta and Shasky.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, baby, I should say. Warriors win last night. And, we got question marks. But we're going to enjoy the win, but we got questions moving forward. What you got?
This segment is presented by Golden State Lumber, an essential service. Their lumber yards remain open from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Call 855-GSL-YARD. 855-GSL-YARD. Or visit GoldenStateLumber.com. Your boy is out here. I'm picking a new fence right now. I'm working on getting a fence. And let me tell you, Carrie over at Golden State Lumber is helping me out tremendously. I asked her what kind of wood should I use in a very wooded area.
How much does a fence cost?
It depends. There's tiers to this thing. You know, how expensive?
Tier 1
do you
fence. Cheap fence.
Do you want clear wood? Do you want it with knots? Do you want it, I guess they call it hearts or something like
basic wood. Cheap fits. What's the cheapest fits you could buy out there?
Well, you can go to somewhere else and get some crud wood, but if you want to go to
Golden State Lumber.
Right now, I'm looking at a couple of different redwoods, and I'm gonna my new little cabin's in the redwoods, so I'm thinking of building a beautiful redwood fence. And
man, you're a baller.
I'm gonna go this way with the fence. You know that they have like a vertical up and down. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go horizontal. That's kind of like the new thing right now, going horizontal. So I'm doing that. And Carrie over at Golden State, I told her exactly what the project is. I laid out kind of the area that we're gonna build it, and this is why I go to Golden State, because they set me up and make it effortless. And so my contractor and Carrie, who's the sales rep over there at Golden State, is kind of setting the whole thing up, and it's effortless for me. She gave me all the different options, and I make sure that the wood that I'm using is going to be good for a long, long time, but it fits the motif of the home and the area where the home is.
All right. Well said. Well said. Let's go to Anthony in Vacaville. Anthony, what's happening? You're on the Morning Roast here on 95.7 The Game.
Top of the morning, fellas. Joe, you got to leave some meat on the bone. I only got gristle by this time. But, so, Bonta, I'm with you that there is a tough decision that has to be made when it comes to Draymond, especially if he's not giving you something offensively. And remember, Draymond he began to start for David Lee, and I'm sure that was, you feel me, that was tough for David Lee being a starter. And then, of course, Steve Kerr, he had to sit Iggy. You know, I think it was Iggy had to start coming off the bench, and then you put him in the closing lineup. Mm-hmm. So, like, it definitely has to be made. Decisions definitely have to be made. I really, really like Jonathan Kuminga and what he gives you on the small ball five, and I'm just very, very I'm excited to see if he can develop a mid-range game. Like, he can shoot the open three. It takes him a little while to get set up, but if that young kid can get him a mid-range, he really will be, pretty much unstoppable because his athleticism is amazing. I'm also with you, Joe. Jordan Poole, he's at this point, he is the number one, the most important person right now. Until Stephen Curry comes back, we don't know when that is. Right. Maybe you guys know, but I don't. But until Stephen Curry comes back, he's the only person there that can create his own shots and also get other people involved. So I think it's a delicate situation. I don't know about sitting Clay. We know he's not going to do that. He said that when KD came. I'm not giving up any of my shots. You guys are tripping. But when it comes to Draymond, I think you're on to something, Bonta.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks for the call, Anthony. And look, Steve Kerr may come out and say, I'm not pitching Draymond either. I've won championships with them. We're not talking about closing lineups. And really, the starting lineup, let's be real. It's about who finishes the game.
Of course.
As long as everybody sees their minutes. But do you want to get off to a fast start? Do you want to play your guys? Here's the deal about playing Jordan Poole and Stephen Curry. Let's just say, hypothetically, they bench Klay Thompson. And Klay came off the bench. And you have Wiggins there. Draymond's a little compromised with the back. Mm-hmm. And you got Looney. Well, teams in the playoffs are going to hunt Jordan Poole and Stephen Curry. They're going to hunt them out to get the matchup on them. And what they're going to do is go right at them. And that's going to take a lot of energy out of Steph Curry and Jordan Poole. How does that affect their shot offensively? How does that affect their game offensively? Mm-hmm. So having Klay and Wiggins on the floor to guard some of those guys where Steph can hide on a defender in the corner, where Jordan Poole can hide on a defender in the corner. I think that's important. That's what's helped Steph be Steph during those championship runs. He was able to hide on other guys in the corner, maybe an Iman Shumpert, maybe a Matthew Dellavedova, a Tony Allen, where Iguodala's guarding the point guard. Klay Thompson's guarding the point guard. Klay Thompson's guarding Donovan Mitchell and Damian Lillard and James Harden and Kyrie Irving. And Klay Thompson's getting closer defensively to doing that. We've seen that over the last couple of weeks here when Klay's like, Steve, I want to guard the number one guy. So he can alternate with Wiggins. That's why I say you got to start Klay and Wiggins because it's much more than offense. It feels all offense.
So let me ask you this question because you're making so many good points here. Is Draymond right now, not about his resume, I'm asking right now, in the state that he's in right now, which you and I kind of agree he's not 100% right.
Right.
Is he their best defender?
Not right now.
Who is?
Andrew Wiggins.
Okay. GP2, maybe 2.
Gary Payton II.
Yeah, right.
Gary Payton II's right there.
They're very different. They're giving me different elements because there's, low post defensive players. There's perimeter
Looney's playing well. And guys are going right at Draymond Green knowing he has that back injury.
Okay, so
he's just not right, Shasky.
Okay, secondarily, when you insinuated this at the break, Steven came in here, and Steven Langford, 5 to 6 pregame show.
Thank you, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, he comes
Sometimes
in and
Saturday.
he goes, you guys are like totally missing the boat on Draymond Green because look at what he does for Steph Curry.
I hear you.
So let's break that down. Right now, in terms of Steph Curry and what, are we worried about any precipitous drop-off if, let's just say, Draymond doesn't start the game?
There's a slight concern, but it's Steph Curry.
I think he will adjust.
He can figure it out.
and where we're going with this is, to me, if you're reducing Draymond to a small ball 5, then to me the answer is very simple. It's him or Kevon Looney, and they're rotating those minutes. Obviously, Dre would get the bulk of those minutes. And what you were saying, sub him in like the 4-minute mark?
Sub him in at 6-minute mark, 5-minute mark. You can play the rest of the quarter with Stephen Curry. And they can build that rapport. They can do what they do with the split action, the dribble handoffs. DHOs, as they call them in basketball. Look, I'm looking at some stats here, and I'm looking at some numbers.
Yeah, give them to me.
And we know Steph Curry has shot a season low at 3-point percentage, or excuse me, a career low at 3-point percentage, and a career low at field goal percentage. But I'm looking at 27 games he played during that stretch in which Draymond was out, which I believe, 30, 31 games? Steph Curry gave you 24 points a game, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Those are all NBA numbers. Now, the percentages were down. 45% from the field, which a lot of people take from the point guard spot, 36 from the three-point line. That's down. Is that a direct effect because of Draymond Green? Is that because Draymond Green wasn't playing and he shot 36%? I think some of it had to do with shot selection. I think some of it had to do with Curry chucking from the logo when he was trying to get himself going. Curry started going to the rack, and you look at these games here, 20, 18, 16, 35, 24, 33, 25. I mean, Steph Curry's fine. Steph Curry can figure it out without Draymond Green. Now, maybe there's something there because we saw the numbers against the Washington Wizards. Folks, let's be honest, the Washington Wizards stink. Or one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Now, that may not be nothing on Sunday when the Warriors visit them at, what do they call it, the Capital One Center? But I think that's a little overrated in my opinion.
It's misleading, you're saying.
I think it's a little
Draymond
overrated.
effect on Curry.
It is. He does have an effect on him. There's no doubt. Draymond Green knows where Curry loves the ball. He hits him right in the pocket. He knows when he's running off these screens
he
there.
Sets a good, they do this 2-man game where Dre will, basically
Split
hand
action.
it off and then set a double screen, where he's screening off 2 guys. He is great at that. They do need threats, though, especially when the defense has become more sophisticated and better, because you're not going to get the Wizards in the playoffs, Bonta.
Well, look, and nobody's trying to bury the OGs here. We love the OGs. Who's
burying the OGs? They've all missed time. It's just, this is what happens. Older players decline and get hurt.
We love the OGs.
And I don't know how much they got left.
We love the OGs. But has the league caught up to that Warrior system to which you can't play 3-on-5 offensively? You don't have Kevin Durant. You can play 3-on-5 when you have Klay in his prime, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry.
Well, yeah.
And Klay pre-injury. It's a different ball game, folks. different ball game.
I don't
You
know.
don't have that right now.
So if it did come down to Wiggins, Draymond, you're going to go with Andrew Wiggins starting and Draymond coming off the bench.
Look, here's what I think will happen. Steve Kerr will start Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Dre, and Looney. That's what I believe Steve Kerr will do.
But I just don't think Dre's a great 4 right now.
I think Steve Kerr's going to roll with that lineup.
He's basically their point forward. Like that's kind of like the role that he wants to occupy.
I think Steve Kerr's going to roll with that lineup.
I would roll with him as a small ball 5. I would have him as my starting center.
So you'll bring Looney off the bench?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because I just know how Draymond is, right? So I know he.
So now you're worried about feelings.
For him because he's so.
So
crazy.
I thought it wasn't about feelings.
No,
it's about winning championships.
It isn't. But I think that Draymond does more on the court than Kevon Looney. Straight up.
Can he play better defense on no sitters?
I don't know, but I think the body of work overall, I think he can do. Like him against Jokic to start games, don't love it. I mean, just being honest.
Looney battle with Jokic.
Because you're going to get Draymond in foul trouble, and that's another element to this.
I don't know. Let's go to Ben in
I think
San
this
Jose.
is a good problem, though.
Ben in San Jose.
I don't think this is a bad thing.
Good morning.
What's up, Ben?
Good morning.
What's up?
So what's up, guys? Y'all have literally tested my patience before I finally get the mic because you are talking to a fan and a player, and you know what? Y'all have hyped me up enough. I have waited here for 30 minutes. So straight to the point. Let's cut to this.
Well, get to it,
gentlemen. We have a starting lineup. Like, dude, the starting lineup is have Bob Myers send them on a full vacation and just have Steve Kerr play with this bench. This bench has showed, or we're not really a bench, because what is this? We got Kevon Looney finally fucking play like a center. Excuse my French.
I mean, that was the wow. I just.
Damn it, Ben!
Ben just doing way too much, dude. Ben doing way too much. 888-957-9570. If you're looking at this roster right now, what do you end up doing? I think they have some interesting things. Do you agree with me that Jordan Poole, outside of Steph Curry, is the most important guy going forward in terms of you got to acquiesce to get him rolling? He does so much for himself and for others and for winning right now. Plus, he's playing better defense.
He's getting better defensively. There's no doubt he's getting better defensively. And he is important. He is important. Now, wherever you want to rank him, that's fine. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I don't really care. I don't really care where you rank him. All I care about is can he produce? And this is what I said a month ago, Shasky. When it comes to the playoffs, Steph is going to do his thing.
Yes.
Clay, he's going to have nights where he goes 5-19. He's going to have nights where he goes 10-17. He's been like that his whole career in the playoffs.
Yeah.
People forget Klay Thompson didn't ball out every single playoff game. Every single playoff game, he did not ball out. All right? Jordan Poole will play. But him and Wiggins, if the Warriors want to win a championship, Wiggins and Poole have the ball.
Yeah.
They have to be consistent. To me, I told you this a month ago. They are my X factors, especially with both of them when they were in the deep end in February.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole snapped out of it in March. Wiggins is struggling still, and he's put together a nice game, 20 points in the second half last night.
Yes.
They are so important to the Warriors to help out the non-Steph minutes when Steph's not on the floor.
I would throw Otto Porter Jr. and Kuminga into that mix as well.
Big time.
I mean,
Darrell Wright has said it all year. Otto Porter Jr. is his X factor.
Absolutely.
He comes up with back-to-back double-doubles.
So, B, here's the other thing on the Draymond Green conversation. When people are like, well, look at Steph's numbers when Dre's not out on the court. A lot of that happened as they were trying to move Jordan Poole out of the starting lineup because Clay returned. The night Clay returned, Draymond, remember, came out of the game with a calf injury, which would later be a back injury. That's when they started to put JP on the bench. I wonder what the sample size would look like if it was a couple of weeks of JP starting alongside Steph Curry and Draymond coming off the bench. Would the drop-off be there? I think you could offset, the chemistry between Steph and Dre is, I'm not here to argue about it. There's clearly chemistry there.
Right.
I think JP can help offset whatever losses with Draymond off the court early in games because Steph won't get as much attention defensively on him.
Well, let's also keep in mind, and 510 makes a great point on Comcast Business text line. Dre, Clay, and Steph have only played, 11 minutes together?
I know.
That kind of puts things into perspective. That's why I think Steve Kerr if we're talking about lineup changes and we're not the head coach, so who knows what Steve Kerr's going to do. But I, in my heart of hearts, I believe Kerr's going to say, look, these are my big three. I'm going with Loom because he loves Looney. And it is about feelings. Whether or not we could say from the sidelines, hey, it's not about feelings. We just want championships. But you got to massage feelings. That's part of pro sports.
You do.
The psychology of everything.
To a level,
you got to massage feelings.
But the irony of this is they sure as hell didn't care what David Lee thought when Draymond Green was starting.
Well, Steve Kerr
came.
He
was the better player.
Steve Kerr came, and David Lee wasn't one of his guys.
And he got hurt, and he wasn't better than Dre. He just wasn't.
Clay, Dre, Looney is Kerr's guys. Those are his guys.
Yeah.
David Lee wasn't his guy. He was Lakem's guy. He wasn't Kerr's guy.
Yeah.
So he got hurt.
Is Draymond still Kerr's guy?
Yeah. You hear the way he talks about him? By the way, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and AC1 San Francisco Odyssey Station. Brought to you by DuckDuckGo. Privacy Simplified. 888-957-9570. We're going to talk to Jim Barnett at 7:30, the longtime color analyst of the Golden State Warriors. I knew he was amped up in South Beach. Amped up. Also, 888-957-9570. That is a text line as well. 650, good morning. I deeply apologize for being unprofessional using profanity.
That sounds like
Please consider my input as a fan. Well, we didn't even get to what you had to say, Ben, because you dropped the F-bomb.
Well, when you get a call, let me tell you, as someone who called into many sports talk radio shows, just get right to your point. Just bring it. In the words of the great Gary Radnich, keep it quick. Be ready to go.
So, the boy JD on Twitch, I'm telling you, Bonta and Joe, starting lineup should be Clay, JK, Clay, Poole, and Steph. No, actually, KL is Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole,
Gotcha.
Clay, Poole, and Steph.
Gotcha.
That's his starting lineup.
Interesting. I mean, there is something when JK starts, though. I know you brought up JK there for a second. Like, that's the thing. I'm worried about this season, but I do have a little bit of an eye on the offseason and next year. And boy, let me just tell you, they've got options. Woo! They've got options when it comes to this roster.
JK's not going to start. I think the quarter weight
he's not
not there. He's raw. But damn,
for
the
19,
production you can get off the bench
for 20,
instant offense.
For 20 years old?
He's walking into 14 points. He's walking into it.
Man.
And Anthony said he wanted to see JK work on that mid-range jumper. We're starting to see that. He had the nice little fadeaway to paint, the baseline fadeaway. JK's coming a long way.
So Tyler Miller brings up a point here on YouTube. Draymond was the Defensive Player of the Year candidate before the injury.
He was.
Okay.
He was.
Yeah, but once
you
you
can't
get
scoff
injured,
at that.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's also true he's hurt right now, right? And just because you were before something else, you're not that then in real time if you're hurt. So, we got to go with form. Form has to matter at some point. I get reputation. I totally understand resume. Believe me, I understand all those things. But I also believe in form. You got to be playing good basketball, too.
Right. You have to play good basketball. So let's see if you can play good basketball over the last 9 games.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Because
Tyler Miller is right where Draymond, we forget he was a DPOY candidate, but he was an all-star this year.
Yeah.
He was playing high-level basketball. Yeah, we got that alert during the Dallas Cowboy 49er game oh, damn. Draymond's hurt? Back injury? Mm-hmm. Really? He's got to get right, though. He's not right now. I don't like what I saw.
Look, things happen throughout a season in every sport where guys go from reliable, awesome. Sometimes they just fade away. Like Wiggins earlier this year, he was so locked in. His best Wiggins basketball of his career fell off a cliff. The worst basketball that we've seen him play in multiple years. And now it feels like he's kind of coming back around. Yeah. I do like him playing with the youngsters yesterday. It felt like he played free, and he was attacking the rim.
Well, he got out to a terrible start. It was 1 of 5 in the first half.
Yeah, but he was going at the hoop.
But he was 1 of 5 in the first half, 2 points. He was MIA in that first half. I remember halftime live yesterday. I had Willie and D. Wright, Festus get their keys to the second half, and I said, hey, maybe Andrew Wiggins could wake up. Maybe somebody could wake him up for the second half. And he comes out in that third quarter, quick 8 points.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Like, oh, Wiggins he's arrived.
Yeah.
He's now joined the party in South Beach at FTX Arena, and then he finishes with 22nd half points. So that's another good game. He had a good game against Milwaukee, I thought, on Saturday night prime time. Wiggins is starting to fight it again. You cannot replace his wing perimeter defense.
Yes.
He's guarding the top ball handlers, the top wing players on the opposing team. You cannot bench that.
Yeah.
You cannot bench that, folks. He has to start.
I liked their strategy yesterday where they were going to basically play Jimmy Butler straight up, play Bam Adebayo, let him get all the dunks that he wants in the world. They weren't going to let Duncan Robinson go off. And Kyle Lowry was shooting lights out. They just took it right to him.
Yeah. You know what? It's going to be some interesting questions moving forward here. 888-957-9570. Let's squeeze you in before we get Jim Barnett on the line at 7:30. Jim Barnett's going to join us and talk about last night's win. What's the most impressive thing about last night's win, Dub Nation? What impressed you the most about last night? Was it Jordan Poole in his 30? Was it Jonathan Kuminga? What was the biggest thing that you took away from last night's win down in South Beach as the Warriors beat the Miami Heat, who are in first place in the Eastern Conference, 118-104, to snap their 3-game losing streak? And that's right, baby. Oh, baby vibes all day long. Money time on the Morning Roast.